If I was starting my business again as a content creator and photographer in 2026, here are the 7 things that I would do to get my business started. Hi, I'm Becky. I have been running my business since 2006. I have had the pleasure of working with brands like the BBC, Virgin Holidays, Mulberry, Timberland. It has been fantastic. My photographs are featured in magazines from Vogue to The Times to international magazines. Number 1 thing that I would say to do is stop listening to all the bro marketing that's out there. I have listened to endless videos, books, content from all these guys, and quite frankly, it's not applicable. It's not applicable because as a woman in business, as a woman marketing my own business, it just doesn't have the same rules. They don't apply. It is not the same context as the guys have. And we know this. We know that, that there isn't a level playing field here yet. So the issues I have with it is stuff like the 5 o'clock club. You're getting up at 5 a.m. Well, hey, I've got kids and we go to school and all this other stuff that happens. And then in the evenings and the weekends, I don't have the time. Not in the same way. And so what I found is the first thing that I would say is you do need a strategy. You do need to carve out a specific piece of time. But as and when this happens, and whether it's going to be consistently every day or every 3 days, that's something you have to work out with your schedule, with your other commitments. Mine is a movable feast. I can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to do something at 9 o'clock every Monday, week in, week out, because of school holidays, because of activities, because of other stuff that's keeping me busy. But I do always find the time, and the consistency is more about scheduling and planning than it is about the same day at the same time, because I can't do that. So step 1 is find space in your week to be able to commit to 1 to 2 hours to promote and develop your business. You need to find the time, even when you're busy, carve out and specify that time that you have, because the couple of hours a week that you have to turn up on social media or write your blog post or adjust your SEO or any of the pieces of that marketing connection that you can do, that's where you're going to be able to move the needle little by little. It is not going to happen overnight. It never does happen overnight. But it will happen if you carve out the time for yourself and for your business to be able to market it. So number 1, do. Number 2, be super clear on who you want as your client. Who is your ideal client? And this is going to be something that could be like huge, like whoever you want as your ideal client on your roster. Think about who they are. Who are those brands that you want to work with? Who are the businesses you want to connect with? Who is it? And think big. Don't keep yourself small, think big. If you aren't sure about who they are, and without pitching to them and to talking to them, you won't know. And the way I do that, secondly, is I have my target list and I hop over into LinkedIn, I look on Instagram, and I find out who is the perfect contact. For me, in most cases, that's going to be the marketing manager, brand manager, marketing director. If it's a little bit of a smaller company, that's how I do it. I look them up onto LinkedIn. I make connections, not in a weird and creepy way, but in a very simple, straightforward way that I start making connections. I start commenting on their posts. I start to get those little kind of flags appearing so that they can see who I am and they might start to look at some of my work. So I found that that's worked really, really well for me. Have 10 to 15 people that you really want to focus on in the next 6 months, and then start to approach them. Being ballsy, being bold, being like strong, being concentrating on who it is you want to talk to, not only focuses your business so that you have other similar businesses coming to you, but it helps you to fill that space, to feel confident. And look, these brands need to work with someone. So if you're a photographer or a videographer or an illustrator and you think, do you know what, I really want to work with this big brand, pitch to them, connect with them. They're human beings. It's not that tricky. You may well get told no. And I think I have been told for one particular brand, I was told no 10 times. But on the 11th time, when their photographer let them down and they wanted something and they saw my work consistently over a year, they booked me and they became a long-standing client. It does work. It really has been that's how I found my jobs, definitely. Number 3, be really clear on what you're offering. Do not be bland. Do not be vanilla. You want to be able to offer something very specific, and you yourself are able to deliver that with joy and with great pleasure. Because if you can't, then you might as well be working for someone else. Really clear on what it is you want to be able to provide. So for a long time, I talked about bold, bright colored brands to want to be able to work with me because I had that kind of aesthetic. I had images in my portfolio, I had video content, and I really enjoyed the fun, vibrancy. I knew with confidence that I could create that, but also I knew that by having 2 or 3 in my portfolio already, that I understood not only the props and the aesthetic that they needed, but the kind of tone and vibe that they wanted as well, which was slightly different. Now look, in that process, I also got a lot of kind of cottagecore and kind of thatched cottage kind of images. And they wouldn't always appear in my portfolio because these brands, although they weren't totally on brand for me and my vibe, they had a similar outlook and they were really interesting to work with. So I still work with different kind of brands, even though they don't always appear in my portfolio, but I make sure that the portfolio, the website, and the portfolio links that I send out to people are in alignment with who my ideal client is. And hey, look, it would be super helpful to me if you could like and subscribe to this channel because I'm growing it from scratch and it'd be lovely to hear you in the comments. So if you can like and subscribe, I am not just a one-hit wonder. I am here for you and I want to be able to share all the tips and hints that I have picked up over the years on how to grow your brand and how to kind of drive those sales into your creative business. Leading on from number 3, don't be too scared to reach out and ask. As I said, sometimes it takes 11 times for me to actually convert that into a sale. Other times, I get a message into my DMs from one blog post that I've put out there that a brand absolutely loves the content that I've produced, and they book me. They book me within a week. They book me out of the blue. Now, that wouldn't have happened. It looks like it was like a one-hit wonder, but it wasn't. It was because of all the work and consistency that I put in there that they'd actually been lurking around for quite a while. And when they stumbled across my blog and they stumbled across my website and my work, they then went ahead and booked me. So sometimes you're just going to have to keep going and keep asking so that you get, eventually you'll get a yes. 5, build a portfolio, a website that you are super proud of. And in this case, less is more. If you are trying to create content for a particular kind of brand, a particular kind of aesthetic, do not have loads of different things. So if I'm going for like bright, colorful, then I'm not going to have the cream and the beiges in there as well. I'm only going to focus on having bright, colorful, bold branding and images and content that I've created. If you are not at a stage where you've got a website yet, don't let that hold you back. You can create PDFs that you can send to people. Equally, you can produce this in Canva, in the Canva settings. You can put together some pages and then send it, publish it and send it out with a URL. So that's super straightforward. Make what is missing. So this is an opportunity for you to be able to create the pieces of your puzzle that perhaps are missing and work with other brands. If you have got Adobe, you will be able to produce a website in there and send out a published URL. So you can give the vibe of having a website if you're not quite ready for having like a full website. If you have a website though, please make sure that you update it on a monthly basis. Like keep that portfolio up to date so that when somebody does kind of hop into your DMs, you have something to put out to them straight away, or you can at least update your website so that you can put out and adjust those little tweaks that you need to have for your content to be able to share to other people. This is definitely a place where less is more. Into number 6, which is make sure you create the content, and if you haven't got it, then you take the time out to be able to create it yourself. Sometimes this can be working with other similar brands. So you do like or you organize a photo shoot or you organize a creative content day. Maybe you team up with some other friends that are also doing this. You think that would be suitable and you create this. This is generally not a paid for gig. This is normally something that you're doing to be able to create your portfolio and to develop, sometimes developing your skills, but also just to be able to develop the right kind of imagery, the right kind of content that you would want to be able to be known and be seen for. So keeping that in mind, keep it accurate and practice your strategy, your planning, your content planning, everything that goes into that whole day. Keep that as a guide to be able to practice that. Number 7, and this is probably the most important one that is overlooked, one that people just don't value enough. And in terms of AI, I think in 2026, this particular point has become one of the most important things. And I just want you not to forget this every single time. You are the brand. You are the difference between one content creator and another. You are the difference between one photographer, one illustrator. If you lined all of the illustrators up or all the photographers up, you are not going to get the same result. Even if you want to create videos and you want to go onto YouTube even and you want to be able to create videos like this, well, if you go and try and copy someone else or be inspired, call it what you will, you would not be able to do that. You would not be able to, even if you really wanted to, even if you had the same kit, you just got your own vibe. You've got your own kind of outlook, the own way that you dress, your own way that you turn up, the own way that you talk. All of that is what makes us wonderfully human. And that bit, you being the brand, is so important. Big businesses, when I work with the bigger organizations, they paid thousands of pounds in order to be able to work out what their brand was and who their brand is and who they wanted to have to work with them. But as a solo entrepreneur, as individual business owners, it's us. We are the brand. So really bottle that bit that you have. It's so important and it's so well overlooked that it's what's going to set you aside. I know that this goes the other way, a little bit like Marmite. You are going to find people that perhaps don't fit with your vibe or don't like it. And I had lots of people that just didn't like color. They just didn't like it, or they didn't like what I was saying. And it can be tough at the beginning to go, do you know what, you just need to walk on by, but it's the best thing that you can do, not only for your own self-worth, but also for your building of your brand. Build what you want, build it how you want, build it with the quantity and the quality and the information that you want to be able to create, because that is all we have to set ourselves aside. If you think that that isn't valuable, you are so far from wrong. It is definitely something that you want to be able to focus on for you to be able to build your brand. Now look, tell me in the comments which one of these 7 you are going to start with first. Which is the one that inspires you the most? And what are you stuck on? Tell me down below. I am more than happy to help you. Hi, I'm Becky. I help women over 40 create businesses that they love, marketing it with ease, creating content that is achievable using photos and videos in order to drive your sales into your business and grow your brand in the way that you want so that you can get offline and enjoy the things you want to do.